Hey, welcome back, everybody. Another edition of the Scott Hamilton Show as we dive deeper into this thing called 2026. It's the end of the week. We're getting closer to college football playoff championship, to the next round of the NFL playoffs. We got PGA Tour golf going on in Hawaii. NASCAR is just around the corner. It's just an absolutely fantastic time of year. And I'm happy to have you join me as we can break down a few things for a little while. We've got Chris Hummer of 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports. He's going to join us in a few moments, and we're going to go over the transfer portal. That thing is about to close up. Remember, there's only one transfer portal period in college football. We're going to get his take on that, what's happened so far, and really what does it mean going forward. But before we get to that, let's get to our headlines. And there you go, our little, here at the Scott Hamilton Show, we're very high tech with our Google Doc. Someday we'll have more elaborate graphics, I'm sure. But there it is, college football playoff final. Miami and Indiana. Throw up your hand if you saw that coming before the season or at any point in your life. Nobody saw that. I'm willing to bet that. But going to be 7:30 on Monday night on ESPN, and a Hoosiers win would be the third straight for the Big Ten. Throw up your hand if you saw that 5 years ago as well, when the SEC was running roughshod over everybody for the better part of this century. And now the Big Ten is the alpha of college football. So, man, how things have changed. And that's another result of all the other things that have happened. The advent of NIL and revenue sharing now, and the advent of the transfer portal. It's created an age of parity like we have never seen in college athletics. And we're a professional model, but not a professional model. That's what we've got right now. But I don't have a problem with it. Just need some better rules, some better regulations, some guardrails, and uniform, not just state by state or conference by conference. It needs to be uniform and just go with it. The professional model works. The NFL, what it does works. I have no qualms with going in that direction. We just need to embrace it. We'll discuss that at another time. Transfer portal. More than 6,700 Division I athletes hopped into that thing. More than 1,200 still looking for homes. So that's troubling in and of itself. Don't forget, Indiana and Miami, they have until January 24th to enter the transfer portal after the national championship game. So wondering what happens after that. Who hops in, goes elsewhere. We'll find out starting January 24th. So far right now, Oklahoma State, 51 commitments. UCLA, 39. Penn State, 36. What's the tie that binds all three of those together? They all had coaching changes. They're all going to have new coaches this season. So loading them up. So transfer portal going to restock those rosters, and that's something we're going to discuss with Chris Hummer of 247 Sports and CBS Sports in just a moment. One other tidbit of news. The FBS coaches had their convention a few days ago, and the calendar that everybody complains about and bitches about, that was supposed to be the primary topic, didn't really get addressed. Instead, what took priority was the redshirt rule. And FBS coaches have decided, they voted unanimously to expand the redshirt rule to 9 games. So what that means is a player can play up to 9 games and the playoff, by the way, and still have a year of eligibility. They can shut it down after that and say, no, it doesn't count. The old rule was 4, and before 2017, it was none, unless you had certain medical exemptions. Still needs to be improved by the NCAA Division I committee. I don't know why they just don't do 5 for 5. You have 5 years to play 5 years. I don't know why it has to be this complicated. And people smarter than me are the ones who are pushing this. Coaches who know the industry way better than I do, they're the ones pushing this. We will explore it in an upcoming episode for sure, because it baffles me. And I know one reason is to keep players more engaged throughout the course of a season. But if they're going to shut it down, they're going to shut it down. I don't want those guys around. I mean, you start the season with your teammates with the goal of finishing your season. Why offer the easy out if things aren't going the way you want? Why can't – see, aren't they supposed to be about teaching how to finish, how to show commitment, I don't know if I want a guy who's going to plan on shutting it down next to me, but I'm old school. I never got paid to play ball, so what do I know? It's an interesting question, but that's the age we're in. We're also in the age of the transfer portal. Um, we're going to explore that with Chris Hummer, and I'm going to ask him who are the winners so far in the transfer portal, who are the losers, and who are some guys and perhaps teams we need to keep an eye on. Because remember, just because the transfer portal closes doesn't mean that guys aren't going to find homes over the next few weeks. What do we need to keep our eye on? We're going to ask Chris Hummer of 247 Sports and CBS Sports on the other side. Stick around.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the J.P. Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our Fanstream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Welcome back. And again, as we get closer to the college football playoff championship, we're still trying to reconcile everything that happened during the transfer portal one-time window, that 15-day period. We really won't know the full ramifications of that window or what transpired during that window for on down the road. Remember, there are still guys in the portal looking for homes. Where they go, how they do going forward, yet to be determined. But we can take stock of what we do know. And joining us now, he's one of the best in the business when it comes to tracking everything in the portal, everything going on in college football. Chris Hummer, welcome aboard. How are you today, sir?
Good, man. Good. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, Chris, I appreciate you coming on. You do an outstanding job for 247 Sports and CBS Sports. But my first question, and it's really just a blanket question, who's the biggest winner in this portal and who's the biggest loser so far?
I think for winner, you could go about this a couple ways. There's a winner in the fact that you have a new head coach who's creating momentum, right? That's the Oklahoma States and the LSUs of the world. But I think when you're talking about winner in terms of looking ahead to next year's national championship picture, you have to start with Texas. This is a program that got Cam Coleman. This is a program that got two of the best running backs in the portal in Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown, multiple offensive linemen, more to come, most likely. They just got Melvin Siney from Wake Forest yesterday. Multiple defensive pieces. They are loading up for a championship run under Arch Manning. So that's who I would point to as the winner. And if I'm thinking of a loser, you could go a lot of different directions too. Like Iowa State, for example, I think has been just destroyed in the portal, lost like 50 scholarship players. But if you're talking about the contenders of the world, Alabama is the one I look at. Like Alabama has lost, I think, 6 of the top 100 players in our transfer portal rankings. I think you're starting to see the realities of this era of college football in that you can't really pay to keep around the depth you used to have really hurt Alabama. And Alabama isn't just losing depth now, it's losing starters. So that's the team I look at as the team that has struggled the most this cycle.
And I'm glad you said that because one of my bigger takeaways was Hollywood Smothers. You mentioned him, outstanding running back from NC State. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. He had committed to Alabama and then at the 11th hour decided, no, I'm going to go to Texas. I'm going to go play with Arch Manning. I don't think that's something that would have happened during the era of Nick Saban. And I think it's, again, to your point, really indicative of this new era we're in where the definition of a blue blood is pretty fluid, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think blue bloods are still blue, but I think the pathway to entering that picture is wider than it's ever been. And I'll be curious what the blue blood label looks like in 15 years. We've seen money come in and make a difference. And like, that's nothing new. I mean, Oregon established itself as a kind of a new era contender, and so did Florida State the last 30 years, in part because of investment. But a team like Texas Tech can come in right now, drop bags, and make the college football quarterfinals. And they're going to spend even more next year. Same thing, frankly, with Indiana. Indiana's spending more than it ever has with what Kurt Cignetti is doing. So I think the color blue has got a lot more hues than it used to.
Chris, just a couple more minutes, please. And you talk about these power teams, these elite teams, and even they have a hard time keeping depth or creating depth and maintaining depth in this new era. But Oregon Oregon is an interesting situation because you have Dylan Raiola going from Nebraska. Dylan Raiola, former 5-star recruit, going from Nebraska to Oregon, but then Dante Moore, the starting quarterback, deciding, I'm going to stick around. I'm not going to enter the draft. So presumably Dylan Raiola is going to redshirt, but that's happened there before at Oregon. What is Dan Lanning doing, I guess, first of all, to make this happen? Or maybe this is the question, Chris. Was Dylan Raiola aware that Dante Moore was going to stick around and he still made the decision? What are you hearing?
He was aware, yeah. I think for a month now, really, Dylan Raiola's camp has shown a willingness in talking to Oregon that Dylan would be willing to sit behind Dante for a year. And I think what we're seeing in reality is like two pretty mature choices from quarterbacks, right? Like you're seeing one choose to stay in college for an extra year. It's not like he's being hurt. Like he's going to make plenty of money at Oregon next year and try to improve himself with an eye towards being a better NFL quarterback. And you've got one in Dylan Raiola, who's a 2-year starter at Nebraska, one of the more prominent figures in the sport, also doing what he thinks is best for his career, which is going to Oregon, competing for championships, and deciding to likely redshirt behind Dante Moore. As for what Oregon's doing, like, I don't know, man. It's like Phil Knight's got a lot of sway. That Nike money is great. The Nike deals are great. And I think people are very complimentary of the environment Dan Lanning fosters up there. So it's just a situation where they've produced a lot of high-level quarterbacks, and I think people want to play there.
Is there anybody still out there, either a player or perhaps a coach or a team, that you expect to still make some kind of noise in the portal? Because as I said, bringing you on, there's still a ton of guys in the portal who haven't found homes. Anybody out there that you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Seaton's in the portal, the Colorado tackle, all Big 12 player. He is going to be very popular. He's at Mississippi State right now, but I think schools like Oregon and LSU could be in the mix there. Princewell Umalayan, sorry for butchering that one, coming from Ole Miss, is going to be a very popular player. Damon Wilson, the Missouri edge rusher, very popular. So there's some high-level players out there. And then the quarterback market, we'll see. Like Miami needs a quarterback still. Tennessee potentially needs a quarterback. A couple minutes before we hopped on, I reported that Duke's worried that Darian Mensah could hop in the portal. So we've got 12 hours to go, but still a lot of action to happen.
All right, Chris Hummer, 247 Sports, CBS Sports. Chris, before I let you go, who do you have Monday?
I'm picking Indiana. I feel like I've been silly not to pick Indiana most of the year. I continue to doubt it, and I should just trust my eyes. Let's go Indiana. But I don't know, man. I think Miami's a pretty decent matchup for them. I'm curious how that goes.
All right, Chris, you the man, brother. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, it's Chris Hummer, 247 Sports, CBS Sports back. And I appreciate Chris Hummer joining us to give us his take on the transfer portal. Chris covers it like nobody's business, just does an outstanding job, and with other matters regarding college football. So very grateful for his time. Here's a bit of news, though, and Chris touched on it, and it's actually happening now. Duke quarterback Darian Mensah has entered the transfer portal. He's jumping in just hours before the deadline. That is significant. 3,973 passing yards last year for the Blue Devils, 34 touchdowns. Looks like Miami will be the front runner to land him, backed up by a reported $6 million quarterback budget. I do believe that's what they gave Carson Beck. So that makes sense. But he currently has a $4 million deal, revenue share deal with Duke that could complicate things without a buyout. He's a multi-purpose quarterback. And by the way, I'm citing information from ESPN as I read this. That's significant. That's significant, especially if Miami can reload. If it is Miami, if they can reload at the quarterback position with a talent such as that, they could be onto something. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a few episodes back about Miami and being sustainable and, is the U back? I'm not ready to quite say that yet, but they're better than they were. Consistency will be the only way I could really say that they are back. If they follow up this year, buy another return trip to the playoff. If they win the championship this year, well, then all bets are off. But that's pretty significant to get Darian Mensah in. But I've got a lot to get to. This is a shorter version of the show than normal. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, hit me up on X at Scott H Sports. You can leave a message here. Be sure to follow, subscribe, like, whatever you do with these sorts of things. Let me know what you want. Let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Maybe you have some guest suggestions. I'll go wrangle them in. But otherwise, until next time, be good.